too much.
Finally, someone who gets it. Finally, someone in the WNBA who understands this thing called...
That's the beauty of it. Sheldon came in with the whole enforcer energy, but Sophie Cunningham flipped the script and made her look like the punchline instead of the problem. Every bump Sheldon tried to give turned into a highlight for Sophie. She'd take the contact, laugh it off, then torch her on the very next possession. It wasn't gritty defense, it was a blooper reel unfolding in real time. Fans were cracking up because Sophie wasn't just outplaying Sheldon, she was clowning her with swagger, sass, and a little bit of disrespect. That's what makes Cunningham so dangerous. She mixes toughness with personality in a way that turns a heated game into pure entertainment.
Of course, Sophie Cunningham owned Jacy Sheldon from the same game that Marina Mabrey did the massive body slam into Caitlin Clark on. And of course, later in the game, Sophie Cunningham would take her rightful place as the Indiana Fever enforcer, and I believe took the first step to her becoming the second most popular player in the WNBA.
Jacy Sheldon picked the worst possible day to cosplay as a tough guy, because the moment she tried sneaking in that cheap shot, Sophie Cunningham flipped the script and turned her into a blooper reel on legs. What Sheldon probably thought would scream grit and grind ended up looking like slapstick comedy, with Sophie mixing toughness, sass, and pure humiliation into a live roast. Every move Sheldon made got erased and replaced with Sophie handing her a steaming platter of embarrassment, her body language afterward looking less like a defender locked in and more like someone who just realized they hit send on a 3 a.m. text to their ex, because this wasn't defense, it was Sophie Cunningham auditioning for a sports sitcom and Sheldon playing the most embarrassing extra on the court.
On a basketball court. And a lot of people don't want to watch that. They want to just watch basketball. Again, the league's been handed this miracle, this beacon of light, while it was down in some dungeon in the basement on life support, and it was never turned.
Sophie Cunningham brings this vibe where she's all laughs and loyalty off the court, but the second you cross her between the lines, it's game over, and that switch flipped the moment Jacy Sheldon tried her cheap stunt. Sophie didn't just clap back, she dismantled her, turning what was supposed to be a tough act into a full-blown disaster that collapsed faster than a soggy fast food taco, leaving Sheldon's fake grit in shambles and making sure the lesson she delivered was loud, clear, and permanent.
A celebration today in the WNBA dump. The Bongo Band playing all the classics as dump divers enjoy the fiesta. We will miss layups. Or my new personal favorite, it's the remix to Ignition, R. Kelly is in prison, and the WNBA.
If you're enjoying the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Now let's get one thing straight, this wasn't your average on-court dust-up, this was Sophie Cunningham planting her flag, roaring like a lioness laced up in Nikes. The instant Sheldon tried her little cheap shot, Sophie fired back with an answer so sharp it echoed louder than the whistle, flipping the entire energy of the arena. The crowd felt it, the commentators knew it, and even Sheldon's sneakers looked about ready to walk themselves off the court in embarrassment. The funniest part? Sheldon really believed she was stepping into the role of intimidator, the enforcer, the tone setter. Instead, she marched straight into Sophie's personal blooper reel of humiliation. Lesson learned, don't poke the wrong competitor.
All right, so here keep an eye on Clark and Jacy Sheldon, right? Clark trying to back down Sheldon. Sheldon fouls Clark. Clark a little upset because she feels like she got poked in the eye, but then watch Marina Mabrey here. She sees what's happening.
The WNBA has had its fair share of fiery moments, but this one was pure stand-up comedy disguised as a basketball game, so lopsided that memes practically started writing themselves before the scoreboard even cooled. Sheldon walked in thinking she'd play the villain, but villains only work when they inspire fear. Instead, she brought nervous substitute teacher energy, awkward and out of place. On the other side, Sophie Cunningham unleashed the ultimate combo, the class clown who keeps everyone laughing while secretly holding all the power. One tried, the other owned the entire stage.
With somebody playing the new role of Dejanay Carrington, Jacy Sheldon, we had Caitlin Clark getting teed up involved in the incident. How does that happen? You've got Marina Mabrey just coming in and Mabrey just thrashing into Caitlin Clark, of course, slamming her to the ground.
Now let's take a second to appreciate the brilliance of Sophie Cunningham not even breaking a sweat while turning Sheldon into a blooper clip. This wasn't some gritty back and forth where both sides came out looking tough. This was Sophie treating the whole thing like light cardio. Sheldon swung, Sophie brushed it aside like she was flicking lint off her jacket. The contrast was so brutal it felt like a Netflix script, complete with the crowd going from gasps to laughter in real time. Nothing lands harder than watching someone set up their own downfall, and Sheldon delivered the perfect setup before face-planting into embarrassment. It was like a magician trying to pull a rabbit from a hat but yanking out a parking ticket instead. The build-up was there, but the payoff was pure comedy. If Sheldon thought this was her breakout "don't mess with me" moment, then congratulations, she broke out all right, straight into the group chat meme cycle for the rest of the week. Meanwhile, Sophie walked away with action hero swagger, the star strolling calmly from the explosion she just caused. And that's what makes it perfect. Sophie isn't just chasing points, she's making statements. This one read in bold letters, asterisk, "come at me sideways, you're leaving sideways." Asterisk Sheldon thought she was enforcing the law, but Sophie's the one who wrote it, passed it, and signed it into WNBA history.
Of course, Marina Mabrey's going to get ejected because that was unwarranted. She literally came out of nowhere and chucked Caitlin Clark. There should be a flagrant one, of course, on Jacy Sheldon because she swiped her and hit her.
And here's the kicker, this isn't even new territory for Sophie Cunningham. She's been quietly stacking a whole highlight reel of clapbacks, humiliations, and "don't mess with me" moments that hit harder than her threes. At this point, she could drop a masterclass titled "How to End Careers While Still Hitting Buckets," and Sheldon would be the first in line to sign up. What makes this one sting extra is the psychology behind it. Sheldon thought she could rattle Sophie with intimidation, but Sophie looked more bored than bothered, which is the ultimate insult. When you bring your best trick and the other person yawns before dismantling you, that's not just a loss, that's legacy damage. The memes started writing themselves in real time. Sheldon's expression after Sophie checked her had big, wrong checkout line at Walmart energy, the instant regret you can't undo. From that moment on, Sophie doubled down, casually reminding everyone why she's the reigning queen of on-court pettiness wrapped in power. And honestly, it felt like poetic justice. Dirty hits don't win games, but they do get you immortalized in your opponent's highlight package. Sheldon may have been the feature, but Sophie was the director, producer, and star of the show. That's not just basketball, that's entertainment with a sting.
Don't start no shit, won't be no shit. Shout out to the Indiana Fever. I'm feeling good, folks. Welcome to WNBA Fight Night, or as some people are saying, WNBA Raw.